Welcome back, everyone, to the latest news in Altered. Today, we have had an announcement that has been in the works for over a year, and that has got to do with the errata and ban compensation policy. We've seen this message constantly. We will address what the compensation is for any card that gets errated, and we are going to see what they have given us. I'll give you my first impressions, my reactions on what this means for me as a player, for me as a collector, but then also for Equinox and how it compares to other card games that I've seen or other games in general from what I've seen. So let's go through what they have said. So it's been almost a year since the very first Altered Balance patch addressing Robin Hood's gameplay experience was published. It introduced a new errata for Robin Hood and detailed our reasoning on game balancing. Since then, several patches have been released to modify certain cards, always with the intention of providing the best possible game environment. I completely agree with this. We do need to do this. Every card game does it, except most card games don't actually alter it. They just cancel the card, right? From that very first patch, we started thinking about some form of compensation for cards that were impacted, but we weren't yet ready to offer a concrete solution. As many of you quickly understood, one of the most interesting avenues for us to explore was related to our digital service or our digital services. In this article, we'll explain the compensation system we're about to roll out. So it's not yet live, it will become live shortly. So what cards are eligible for compensation? Any card that has undergone a balance errata, meaning it was mentioned in a patch with its text significantly modified, or any card that has been banned. So the thing with this is, because it says significantly modified, my impression is they are going to tell us when these cards come out. I hope that on their website there's almost like a list that they put together that says this card has received an errata, eligible or not eligible for compensation. I would only put the ones that are eligible at the common, rare, out of faction, rare, and unique. So really ticking those boxes so you know which ones they have. This does not include cards, though, that have been minorly modified. Punctuation, changes in terminology to make the text easier to understand or for ruling purposes, which again is why I think that list that is easily accessible for all is so important. So how does this work? All right. First of all, to be eligible for compensation, your wallet must be active. So here's the hook, because it means that they're going to give us some money into our, into our own wallet. You must have it activated. And second, it also means you may have to buy. You will have to buy, whether you want to buy a card and reprint it, you want to get something foiled, or whatever reason it is, you're getting into their ecosystem, which I think is a win-win for us all, because no card game truly gives you compensation. Altered is giving us some level of compensation, and that in and of itself is great. Okay, to be eligible for compensation, your wallet must be active. Second point, a compensation is awarded when a card that is affected by an erratum is updated and its associated patch takes effect on the website or in the app. So you don't get it the moment it's announced. It's the moment that the action takes place. So when its effect changes. So for example, right now I'm playing bug fix. If I've got bug fix, I'm not going to get compensation. But the moment it becomes live in just a couple of days, then it will become available for everyone to have it. For errated common and rare cards that you own, you will receive a POD credit of 25 euros per card. So about a quarter of the price of actually reprinting. That's a little bit rough if people want to have their printouts. The cool thing is that one thing that it may be later on, but I don't see is, are you expected to have the latest errated card available to you? And if you were, then they should be paying the full price of the card. If they don't require it, then I don't mind it being lower, with a maximum of 3 cards per faction and per rarity, really saying all you need to print out is a playset. Sure, I wish it was a bit more than that. Maybe they should put 6 available to you. But 3 is fine. You're getting something out of this. In many cases, though, what this does mean is we're really bringing the digital environment back to the game in store, because you're going to have access to your cards, and you have to explain to your opponent what errated cards you do have when they do get presented. So I honestly believe if we are not required to have the latest card available to you. It is up to the player who brings the card when you play the card to explain what it is and how it's changed. And if you need to provide proof, then that proof would be on the side. I also feel it's part of the judge's responsibility as well. If they're watching this and the player does not advise their opponent of this, there could be potential penalties involved because your opponent is not meant to know exactly what you're playing and what erratas are on your cards. Now, an example here is if you own 4 common Ordis Robin Hoods and 1 rare Ordis Robin Hood, you will receive €1 in compensation. So 3 times 25 cents for the common Ordis Robin Hood and 1 times 25 euro cents. I think that's the way you say it, for the rare Ordis Robin Hood. It's not as much, but hey, it is something. In many cases, everyone is going to be getting potentially basically 1.5 euros, 3 commons, 3 rares. Actually, it'd be 2.25 if you think about it, for everything that they have for the full playset of all the cards that are errated, if it is everything getting errated. For unique erratas, the system is the same, but there is no limit of 3 cards. All impacted unique cards you own will be compensated at €25 per card. I think this is one where I wish it was higher, because you're more than likely going to print your uniques and want to show those uniques out with their latest. I wish it was at least half the cost of printing it. This is not even, it's a quarter of the cost at its highest value, plus you still have place shipping fees. Maybe they could have done something that says, hey, if you do this and it includes one of these cards that's errated, can you reduce the shipping fee? But you know what? Someone has to pay it. For banned unique cards, the compensation is 1 random unique card from the current set for each banned card you owned at the time of compensation. I'm assuming you're going to get this in as a digital card. But once again, if you want to print it out, you are spending some money to do that. On the other side, no other card game gives you something for something that gets errated or banned. Right, we are getting it, and people spend hundreds of dollars. So it's not just in our game play, hundreds of dollars in other cards to play something that 3 months, 6 months later, it is errated, it is banned, it is completely gone. I play Flesh and Blood, and I've seen it many times, people getting upset, but it is part of the cycle of a TCG. Right now, we've only had one unique card banned. It doesn't tell you anything here if you ban a rare or a common. Right, it is only banning the unique. So I guess the question would remain, do you get anything if a rare or a common gets banned? And if the answer is no, then that's fine. But they haven't really said that yet. So a script will then compensate any new copies of a banned unique card that are scanned after the initial compensation. So great, if a card has not been scanned before, then the moment it gets scanned, you're going to get the benefit. Which, I will say this, if you end up buying a card that is banned or buying a card that's errated from someone, they've already scanned it, you will not get the benefit of this. It's only if you scan it after the announcement that you get it. So just be mindful of that if you are looking to buy some of these cards purely to get a unique out of it. And I think later on we're going to hear about when this becomes live. So what is POD credit? The next part of it. POD credit is a fund that appears in your wallet as soon as it has a value greater than $0 or €0. I'm assuming the euro is going to be converted to the same to the dollars equivalent. Hopefully it's not like for like, because otherwise we're making less on the dollar side. So when you place an order through the POD service, your POD credit is automatically used first, which is great. You're using this before you use your own funds. Love it. Love that functionality. The next part is it's showing you where it will show up in your My Balances. So your wallet is activated. It's going to come in here and it will tell you how much you've got. And you can see, I'll scroll down just a little bit further, the POD credit line will show up when you have anything available to you, and it will draw down on that first. Love it so far. Love that part. All right, the compensation for Moonlight Jellyfish, which we already advised. So during the last season patch, we announced the ban of unique Moonlight Jellyfish across all factions. As part of that announcement, our compensation policy applies and will compensate all players who possess a Moonlight Jellyfish at the time of compensation. As a reminder, the compensation is as follows. 1 random unique card from the current set, so from Skybound Odyssey, offered per unique Moonlight Jellyfish card in your collection. As an exception for this compensation, and to thank all players for their patience while we were studying a solution before making our decision, a second unique card will be offered to all concerned players. This compensation will take effect on October 6th, and the precise date communicated later. in the week of October 6th. So it could be any time in a week and a half onwards. So if you do buy anything from the marketplace today, counter to what I was really suggesting is, if you buy anything from the market that is a jellyfish, you're going to get the two uniques. In the future, if a card is actually banned, so not errata'd, banned, then you'll get just the one per card. So in my case, I've got four unique jellyfishes, or I'm going to get 8 cards. In the future, if I have another card that I have four copies of that gets banned, I will only get 4, and it will come from the current set. So not too bad. I don't mind this. I wish they did something there where you could get your printed as well as for uniques, because you don't expect this unique banning to occur. For every other unique that's had an errata and every other card that's had an errata, you're only going to get the 25 cent, euro cents, or whatever it's called, per card, and a cap of 3 per type of card you've got. So 3 commons of a certain card, you only get 75 cents in the dollar. You're not going to get more than that as well. So let's see what happens. Hopefully this is received well. I think it's not too bad. So let's have a look here. So FAQs, when will the compensation for errata'd cards from 24-25 take effect? You're going to get awarded on the 29th of September. So in a couple of days, we're going to all see our balance. Of course, you need to activate your wallet before it comes live. If you haven't done your, actually, that's the next question. What happens if I activate my wallet after a compensation has already been issued? The moment you activate your wallet, our system will check if you have any cards that are eligible for compensation. If you do, then you'll be able to receive it. So you will not lose out if you haven't activated your wallet in time. You'll get it the moment you've done that. The only thing to note that if you end up having a card that had already received the compensation because it was gifted to you or someone sold it to you, you will not get it then. So they really do check that unique qualifier for every card. The third question is, my country is not eligible for POD or the marketplace and I cannot create a wallet. Can I still get compensated? So unfortunately, you can get compensated, but you're going to have to wait. But let's see. Anyone who isn't yet able to activate their wallet because of their geographical location will be able to access compensation as soon as their country's access rights are open. So you're not missing out. You're just getting it delayed until your country enables POD to be able to work. And that is some of our friends in Europe that are not part of the European community or the European Union, and a number of people in smaller countries, I'll say parts of South America as well, and Southeast Asia being the main one. So once their wallet is activated, compensation for all errata'd cards will be awarded immediately, and compensation for unique cards that have been banned will be awarded monthly. So that's interesting to know. Once a month is when we get a banning thing. So we are getting this a little bit later than the POD value for errata'd cards, but we will be getting it. So more news regarding the opening of marketplace and POD access rights for countries that do not yet have them is coming soon. Fingers crossed for all those people that have had to wait so long. It is worth the wait. The marketplace is great. The filtering, though, is awful. I'll provide that. There are third parties that let you search uniques much better than we get from Equinox, but I'm hoping that also improves in the future. All right, next question. I've just scanned a card that has been errata'd, but the compensation has already been issued. What happens? As said before, you will still get it. So an errata'd card that has the outdated text version will be automatically compensated when you scan it, as long as your wallet is active, you have not reached the limit of compensation copies as described above, and the card has not been reprinted in a main set with its corrected version since. Interesting. That is really cool, because those people that were thinking they're going to get erratas of I'll use the example they use here is Waru and Mac. We're not going to get any compensation for that because in Whispers from the Maze, the new text of Waru and Mac was available. So just an FYI on that one as well. In the future, because we've gotten our money and they do release a card again with new text, it doesn't matter. You've already received your money. All right, I digitally was given a card eligible for compensation a few days after a compensation was issued, and I had not reached the limit of compensation copies. What happens? Your transaction happened digitally, so the card's text was already up to date. In this case, you will not be compensated. So this goes back to what I was saying before. If you've got more than 3 copies of something and you give it to someone else, they will not be activated, even though you were capped at how much you got. It's because it went through the algorithm saying it's a live card, it's not going to get the compensation. So I was compensated for 3 cards. The next question. that I later sold, gave away, and I have 0 left in my collection. If I scan a new version of this card again, will I be compensated? The answer is no. The system remembers that you have already been compensated 3 times for this card and will not give you new compensation. The only exception is if you are scanning an errata'd version of a unique for the first time. So uniques do not get that. So all uniques are not capped. Now, if we go back to the beginning of the article, let's see if that is very clear here. An errata for an errata'd uniques, there is no limit. Absolutely, it is clear. I don't know why that popped up. Sorry about that. And that comes to the end of the questions that we've got. All in all, it's great we're getting some compensation. Do we wish it was more? Don't we always wish it was more? But it is something. The part that's not told here is if we could get some level of discount when you're printing out these cards for the shipping. And it doesn't look like we're going to get anything on that. You do have to then make one of these part of the 20 that you put into your box or into your pack to get the benefit. And unfortunately, we will have to pay that shipping fee without the discount. But I'll say this, as long as there's never a requirement to actually have the printed card with you, then this is okay by me. Absolutely okay by me. All right, and that gets us to the end of today's one. I will load this up. All the best to everybody, and I hope I see you guys soon.